What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Shipwreck Mopars. On this episode, we're messing with the 67 Polara here for my friend. He wants a little bit more pep in its step. We're going to go from whatever gear ratio's in it now, probably a 276 or 294. We're going to bump it up to a 323. We're also, in addition to that, this car was converted from a 2-barrel to a 4-barrel. And now we're going to give it that additional kick of a slightly higher stall converter, because if you were unaware, a 383 2-barrel has one stall speed. I think it's around 1800 or 2200. But the end codes, theirs was like a 4-barrel motor. Theirs was 2650 was their rated stall speed. So they got the smaller 10-inch converter versus the 11 basically. And that's what we're doing to this one. Let's go up in the air. All right, we got this thing up in the air. Let's take a look. This is a 67 Polara. It's been a very nice driver for this gentleman for several years. Looks like some of the older bodywork's starting to come apart here. Everything under here looks pretty good. Tell there was some work done on these quarters. It's bubbling a little right here. Otherwise, this thing's really pretty good under here. What I've noticed here is casting numbers are on this side of the axle. This is an early housing. I'm going to say it's probably a 657 or a 985. We're going to find out though. Let me grab a wire brush and we'll check it out. Scrub this a little bit more here. Sprayed some carb cleaner on it so we can see what we got. Looks like we got a 985 case. This is a 57 to 64 differential. I wonder what it is. I'm looking around, there's no tag visible that I could see anywhere here. So, let's pull it out, see what we got. Small 7260 U-joints here, I think. Looks like it to me. Really not a bad car, man. Looks like the original engine. Can't tell that it's ever been out. Original transmission. You can tell because there's no boss here for a VIN. Alright, let me get this thing unbolted. Now that I've got the Polara up in the air, I'm going to get the rear tires off. We got to pull the rear drums off. And then there's 5 9/16 nuts on studs that are the axle retainers. Pop the axles out. And I believe there's 10 9/16 nuts that hold the center section to the housing. What is that? Let's go see. Back to work. Let's get these wheels off. Let's go. All right, got the wheels and tires pulled off. A lot of people change back to a regular standard stud on the driver's side, because prior to 70 and earlier, Mopars is reverse thread on here. Most people know that, some people don't. I imagine because this had an aftermarket SSBC disc brake setup on it. Sure, the rotor was regular thread, so they just threw one in on this axle just to be sure. Take these drums off and see what we got. With the drums off, you can see we got an access hole here in the axle to get at these retainer nuts. There's 5 of them. This is the passenger side, so there's an adjuster right here. So you see the locking. Let's see if we can get a focus in here. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, see a little locking tab? This locks this adjuster in place, so your axle end play is in spec. Alright, let's pull the axles and then we'll find out what center section this has in it. All right, got the passenger side axle out and the driver's side axle out. Brand new brakes in this puppy. It's fluid though, pretty dark. What I was able to get out of there, very black. There's some metal, so I'm sure this diff in here is. So see this side, it's weird. This side's clean. The other side is not. Oh well, it's gonna all be clean here shortly. Let's tear this pumpkin out. Alright, we got the pumpkin out here on the ground. First thing I'm noticing is this groove in the ring gear. Let's see what ratio this is. 276. So we're definitely going to get an upgrade here. And you can see it looks like something got pulled into the teeth. Alright, time to clean that gasket. This is all the metal in the bottom of the diff. Ugh. Yeah, that's not happy. What the heck is going on here? Oof. Alright, finally got all that gasket scraped off of here. For the record, you don't really need to glue up here if you're using one of the paper gaskets. Could probably just put a dot of RTV in between all these bolts and just smear it lightly. You don't have to do up here though, because it's never going to leak unless you flip the car. But anyway, I don't like those black gaskets. They get stuck and make the mess you guys just see me scraping. So I found these rubber silicone gaskets from a company called, was it Real Gasket Company in Tennessee? I got the paper in my pocket. These are awesome. They're reusable. If you're like me and you switch pumpkins around here and there, it's good to have this. You just switch the pumpkin and put this puppy back on, put it back together. No scraping. That took entirely too long and too many different methods to finally get a clean flange for the gasket. All right, we got the diff in, all torqued down. I will say I'm not happy about how the gasket's squeezing out when I torqued it down. You would assume I over tightened it. Apparently I did a quick Google search because I didn't want to get my book all grimy. It says the factory service manual says 45 pounds. A lot of guys were saying that's too much for this size stud, so they were on at 35 pounds. I stopped at 25 because I just seen how much it was squishing out. That'll be plenty. So I think what I'm going to do next is run the wire wheel and get all this loose, ugly, chipping red paint off. Probably hit it with like a cast iron color. I think that'll look nice. Just gotta do the whole thing. Alright, looks like I got enough of this red paint off. I mean, we're not doing a show car here, and it's under the car. This is a driver. So everything loose and flaky is off. Whatever burns off right now, great. But what I'm trying to do here is you see the metal's changing. So what is happening is there's some moisture trapped in this cast iron. And before I paint it, I want to make sure I heat it out of it. You don't want to stay in one spot too long. You know, we just put a brand new gasket in there, so we got to move around. But you look at that water coming out of that. Paint ain't ever going to stick good like that. Come over here to where I've really got it cleaned off. It's like it's wet to the touch now. See it? See how wet that is now? It's just this time of year. Lots of moisture. So you want to heat it up and get all your moisture out of the metal before you paint it. See, now you can see I've got it hot enough. In that area, there's no more moisture there. So I'm going to do that to the whole thing. Alright, as you see in my little time lapse, I cleaned this all up, hit it with some primer and then some color. It's like a dull aluminum. I know it's not right, it should be more of a cast iron, but came out okay. Better than that hideous red. If it was anything else, I probably would have left it, but I just couldn't do the red. And to whom it may concern, I know you see me put a wire wheel onto this little piece of rubber. And sure, I scuffed it up, but I'd rather look at this than a bunch of red. Wouldn't you? It'll be alright. I was barely moving, too. I barely, really tore into it. So I'm sure it'll be fine for being under the car, doing a whole lot of nothing. Next up, I got to get... The axles are going to the machine shop. I got all the stuff from Dr. Diff. Gonna have him press on and off the bearings for me real quick, clean these up. So in the meantime, I have a set of axles I'm gonna throw in this car, get the drive shaft put back in it, and then it'll have to wait to finish up. Until next time. Got to get the axles back, and then I could finish this part. And then the trans comes out, and we're going to do that converter in there. But I wanted to knock this rear end out and get it out of the way. Much better. I've got these axles in from one of my 8 3/4. I had an early rear end, so I got a set of axles. We're going to pop them back in, tighten up the retainer nuts, and I'm going to get the drive shaft back in. We're going to set it back down and roll it out of the way so I can start working on removing the stuff to get the trans out. That's the next big job on this. But I want to get it back down on the ground on all fours. Tires back on, drive shaft sort of back in. Don't try this at home. This car will not be driven. I will take the lift and set it down, probably idle it backwards, and then it's going to park right here in this middle stall. I need to get what they call a combination U-joint. Goes from 7260 to 7290 because the car originally has a small U-joint. It's 2 1/8. Yoke's 2 5/8. 7290. So I need to get the combo joint. But what I've done to try and keep it from flopping around too much is I took a zip tie and wrapped it all the way around it. And then I'm kind of pulling back to the yoke on this side with this one. A little bit more sturdy. Like I said, this isn't a fix. I wouldn't even call this a zip tie moment. None of that. I'm just doing this so the drive shaft doesn't fall apart when I move all of about 30 feet. But I'm wrapped up for now. What I'm going to do is park it. The axles are going to get done, and it's time to go back together. We got to get a different speedometer gear, I'm sure. Right there on the side of the trans. I'll pull that one out, see what we got, see what we need. From Mo Green. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode in the 67 Polara. On the next episode, we're going to get into changing that torque converter. We're going to get the combination U-joint in, and we're going to go fill this thing up with some fluid and take her for a ride and see how it goes. Till then, you guys have a great night. Stay tuned.